Scrum exam preparation. Test your knowledge of the Agile framework that dominates the tech world. We will explore the core principles, roles, and processes that make Scrum effective. Prepare to challenge your understanding and learn key facts about this powerful methodology. Agile fundamentals. This section explores the foundational mindset behind Scrum. You will learn about the core values that prioritize people and results. By the end, you will understand why agility is more than just a process. What is the core idea of agility? A. A strict methodology for software development. B. A set of specific tools and processes. C. A mindset based on values and principles. D. A framework only for project management. C. A mindset based on values and principles. Agility is fundamentally a way of thinking that values flexibility, customer focus, and continuous learning over rigid plans. It is not a specific methodology, tool set, or framework, but the foundation upon which frameworks like Scrum are built. Which of the following is a primary value from the Agile Manifesto? A. Following a plan over responding to change. B. Processes and tools over individuals and interactions. C. Comprehensive documentation over working software. D. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. D. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. The Agile Manifesto explicitly states that while there is value in the items on the right, the items on the left are valued more. Therefore, customer collaboration is valued more than contract negotiation, highlighting the importance of partnership over predefined terms. What does it mean to work iteratively and incrementally? A. Delivering the entire product only at the end of the project. B. Delivering working product parts in short cycles. C. Planning all details of the project meticulously upfront. D. Focusing only on the initial customer requirements without change. B. Delivering working product parts in short cycles. This approach involves breaking down a large project into smaller, manageable pieces, increments, that are developed in short time box periods, iterations. This allows for regular feedback and adaptation, which is a core tenet of agility. What is the primary goal of the 12 principles behind the Agile Manifesto? A. To provide strict rules for software development. B. To make the 4 core values more concrete and actionable. C. To replace the need for project management tools. D. To ensure no documentation is ever created. B. To make the 4 core values more concrete and actionable. The 12 principles elaborate on the 4 values of the Agile Manifesto, providing more specific guidance on how to implement an Agile mindset in practice. They cover topics from customer satisfaction to technical excellence and team dynamics. According to the Agile principles, what is the most efficient and effective method of conveying information? A. Comprehensive documentation. B. Email and detailed reports. C. Status meetings with management. D. Face-to-face conversation. D. Face-to-face conversation. The 6th principle of the Agile Manifesto champions face-to-face conversation as the best way to ensure clear communication and immediate feedback. While other forms of communication have their place, direct conversation is considered superior for its richness and efficiency. What is the Agile approach to changing requirements? A. Changes are discouraged after the initial planning phase. B. Changes are welcomed, even late in development. C. Changes must be submitted through a formal change control board. D. Changes are only allowed if they do not affect the budget. B. Changes are welcomed, even late in development. Agility is built on the premise of adapting to change to deliver a better product. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage, rather than treating it as a disruption to a fixed plan. What does the Agile principle of simplicity refer to? A. Building only the simplest possible features. B. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done. C. Using the least amount of team members possible. D. Avoiding all forms of planning and documentation. B. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done. This principle is about focusing on the essentials and avoiding unnecessary complexity or features. It encourages teams to deliver the highest value with the least amount of effort, cutting out anything that does not directly contribute to the desired outcome. Scrum theory. Dive into the core of the Scrum framework itself. This section covers the empirical process control theory that underpins Scrum. You will learn about the values that guide a Scrum team's behavior and decisions. What are the three pillars of empiricism in Scrum? A. Planning, execution, and delivery. B. Process, tools, and documentation. C. Project, manager, and team. D. Transparency, inspection, and adaptation. D. Transparency, inspection, and adaptation. Scrum is founded on empirical process control, which relies on these three pillars. Transparency ensures all aspects of the process are visible. Inspection allows for frequent checks of progress, and adaptation enables adjustments based on those checks. Which of the following is one of the five Scrum values? A. Commitment. B. Individuality. C. Hierarchy. D. Predictability. A. Commitment. The five Scrum values are commitment, focus, openness, respect, and courage. Commitment refers to the team's dedication to achieving its goals and supporting each other, which is essential for a high-performing team. What does the Scrum value of openness primarily refer to? A. The team working in an open plan office. B. The source code of the product being open source. C. Stakeholders having open access to team members at all times. D. Being open about all the work and its challenges. D. Being open about all the work and its challenges. Openness in Scrum means the Scrum team and its stakeholders agree to be transparent about the work and any challenges or impediments they face. This is crucial for building trust and enabling effective inspection and adaptation. What is the role of lean thinking in Scrum? A. To increase the number of features built. B. To add more processes and management layers. C. To reduce waste and focus on the essentials. D. To ensure the team works longer hours. C. To reduce waste and focus on the essentials. Scrum incorporates lean thinking by aiming to eliminate activities that do not add value. This helps to streamline the development process, reduce complexity, and concentrate effort on what is truly important for the product. How does a Scrum team demonstrate the value of courage? A. By working on difficult problems and challenging the status quo. B. By committing to unrealistic deadlines set by management. C. By ignoring feedback from stakeholders to avoid conflict. D. By skipping the sprint retrospective to save time. A. by working on difficult problems and challenging the status quo. Courage in Scrum is about having the strength to do the right thing, which includes tackling tough challenges, being open about impediments, and questioning things that hinder the team's effectiveness. What does the Scrum value of focus mean for the developers? A. Working on multiple projects at the same time. B. Ignoring the definition of done to go faster. C. Concentrating on the work of the sprint to make the best possible progress. D. Focusing only on their individual tasks without collaboration. C. Concentrating on the work of the sprint to make the best possible progress. The value of focus means the team concentrates its efforts on the tasks defined in the sprint backlog to achieve the sprint goal. This prevents distractions and context switching, leading to higher quality and better outcomes. How does the Scrum team show respect? A. By agreeing with the product owner on all matters. B. By never questioning another team member's work. C. By blindly following the direction of the Scrum Master. D. By recognizing each other as capable, independent individuals. D. By recognizing each other as capable, independent individuals. Respect in Scrum involves valuing the diverse skills, experiences, and opinions within the team. It's about trusting that team members are working to the best of their ability and collaborating with them as peers. The Scrum team. Meet the key players in the Scrum framework. This part of the quiz focuses on the specific accountabilities of the product owner, Scrum Master, and developers. You will understand how this small, cross-functional unit is structured for success. What is the typical size of a Scrum team? A. Exactly 7 people, plus or minus 2. B. More than 11 people. C. 10 or fewer people. D. As many people as the project requires. C. 10 or fewer people. The Scrum Guide recommends a team size of 10 or fewer to keep the team nimble and communication effective. Larger teams tend to create too much complexity and overhead, which can slow down the empirical process. Who is accountable for creating the plan for the sprint backlog? A. The developers. B. The Scrum Master. C. The project manager. D. The product owner. A. The developers. The developers are responsible for planning the sprint. During sprint planning, they select work from the product backlog and create a plan to turn it into a done increment, which is the sprint backlog. What is the primary accountability of the product owner? A. Managing the developers and their daily tasks. B. Facilitating all Scrum events and removing impediments. C. Maximizing the value of the product resulting from the team's work. D. Creating detailed technical specifications for the developers. C. Maximizing the value of the product resulting from the team's work. The product owner is the single person accountable for making sure the team works on the most valuable items. This is achieved through the effective management of the product backlog. Which of the following is a key service a Scrum Master provides to the Scrum team? A. Assigning tasks to each developer. B. Coaching the team in self-management and cross-functionality. C. Accepting or rejecting work at the sprint review. D. Determining the technical implementation of product backlog items. B. Coaching the team in self-management and cross-functionality. A Scrum Master acts as a coach and facilitator, helping the team to become more effective by improving its practices, embracing Scrum principles, and managing its own work. Who has the final say on the order of the product backlog? A. The stakeholders. B. The Scrum Master. C. The product owner. D. The developers. C. The product owner. While the product owner gathers input from many sources, they're the sole person responsible for the content and ordering of the product backlog. This ensures a clear and consistent direction for the product. What does it mean for the developers to be cross-functional? A. Every developer must have every skill required. B. The team is made up of specialists from different departments. C. The team collectively has all the skills needed to create a done increment. D. The team can switch between different projects as needed. C. The team collectively has all the skills needed to create a done increment. Cross-functionality means that the team as a whole possesses all the necessary competencies, e.g., testing, design, programming, to deliver a finished piece of work without depending on others outside the team. Who is responsible for removing an impediment that is blocking the developers? A. The product owner. B. The developers themselves, whenever possible. C. The senior management of the organization. D. The Scrum Master, by causing the removal of impediments the team cannot resolve. D. The Scrum Master, by causing the removal of impediments the team cannot resolve. The Scrum Master's role is to serve the team by removing obstacles that are beyond the team's ability to solve on its own. This helps protect the team's focus and productivity. Scrum events. Learn about the formal opportunities for inspection and adaptation in Scrum. This section will test your knowledge of the purpose, time box, and attendees for each event. You will discover how these events create regularity and minimize the need for other meetings. What is the maximum duration of a sprint? A. 1 month or less. B. Exactly 2 weeks. C. 6 weeks. D. It depends on the project size. A. 1 month or less. Sprints are fixed-length events of 1 month or less to create consistency. A shorter sprint provides more frequent opportunities for inspection and adaptation, which reduces risk. Who has the authority to cancel a sprint? A. The Scrum Master. B. The product owner. C. The stakeholders. D. The developers. B. The product owner. Only the product owner has the authority to cancel a sprint, although this is a rare and disruptive event. It typically only happens if the sprint goal becomes obsolete, making the work irrelevant. What is the purpose of the daily Scrum? A. To provide a status update to the Scrum Master and product owner. B. For the developers to inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog. C. To plan the work for the entire sprint. D. To demonstrate the completed work to stakeholders. B. For the developers to inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog. The Daily Scrum is a 15-minute event for the developers to synchronize their activities and create a plan for the next 24 hours. It is a planning meeting for the developers, not a status report for management. What is the main purpose of a sprint review? A. To provide a formal sign-off on the work completed. B. To inspect the outcome of the sprint and determine future adaptations. C. To assess the performance of individual team members. D. To plan the next sprint in detail. B. To inspect the outcome of the sprint and determine future adaptations. The sprint review is a working session where the Scrum team and stakeholders collaborate on what was done in the sprint. Based on this, they adapt the product backlog for the future. What is the key objective of the sprint retrospective? A. To discuss the product features and provide feedback. B. To plan ways to increase quality and effectiveness. C. To hold a detailed technical discussion about the architecture. D. To decide which items to work on in the next sprint. B. To plan ways to increase quality and effectiveness. The sprint retrospective is an opportunity for the Scrum team to inspect itself and create a plan for improvements to be enacted during the next sprint. It focuses on the team's process, tools, and relationships. What are the three topics addressed in sprint planning? A. Why is this sprint valuable? What can be done, and how will the work get done? B. Budget, timeline, and scope. C. Who does what, when it is due, and how it is tested. D. What went well, what went wrong, and what to improve. A. Why is this sprint valuable? What can be done, and how will the work get done? Sprint planning covers the purpose of the sprint goal, the work to be performed, selected product backlog items, and the plan for delivering that work, the initial sprint backlog. Who are the required participants in the sprint planning event? A. The developers and the product owner only. B. The entire Scrum team. C. The developers and the Scrum Master only. D. The entire Scrum team and key stakeholders. B. The entire Scrum team. The product owner, the developers, and the Scrum Master all attend and participate in sprint planning. Their collaboration is essential for defining a valuable and achievable sprint goal and creating an initial plan. Scrum artifacts. Explore the tools Scrum uses to provide transparency and create value. This quiz section covers the product backlog, sprint backlog, and the increment. You will learn about the commitments tied to each artifact that ensure focus and clarity. What is the commitment associated with the product backlog? A. The sprint goal. B. The definition of done. C. The release plan. D. The product goal. D. The product goal. The product goal is the long-term objective for the Scrum team. It is part of the product backlog and provides a target for the team to plan against, giving context and direction to their work. What does the sprint backlog consist of? A. The sprint goal, selected product backlog items, and the plan for delivery. B. The product goal and the definition of done. C. A list of tasks assigned to each developer by the Scrum Master. D. The user stories plan for the next 3 sprints. A. The sprint goal, selected product backlog items, and the plan for delivery. The sprint backlog is a complete picture of the work for the sprint. It includes the why sprint goal, the what the items, and the how the plan to deliver the increment. When is an increment created? A. When a product backlog item meets the definition of done. B. At the end of the sprint during the sprint review. C. After the product owner approves the code. D. Before the sprint planning meeting begins. A. When a product backlog item meets the definition of done. An increment is born the moment a product backlog item is completed according to the definition of done. This can happen at any point during the sprint, and multiple increments can be created within a single sprint. What happens to work that is not completed by the end of the sprint? A. It is automatically carried over to the next sprint. B. The sprint is extended until the work is finished. C. It is deleted from the backlog permanently. D. It is moved back to the product backlog for reevaluation. D. It is moved back to the product backlog for reevaluation. If a product backlog item is not done by the end of the sprint, it is not included in the increment. It returns to the product backlog, where the product owner will reorder it based on its current value and priority. Who is responsible for creating and adhering to the definition of done, DoD? A. The product owner. B. The quality assurance department. C. The Scrum team. D. The Scrum master. C. The Scrum team. The entire Scrum team is responsible for creating the definition of done. If it is not a standard for the organization, the Scrum team must create one appropriate for the product to ensure a shared understanding of what it means for work to be complete. What is the purpose of the product goal? A. To provide a long-term objective for the Scrum team. B. To define the scope for a single sprint. C. To list all technical requirements for the product. D. To act as a contract with the stakeholders. A. To provide a long-term objective for the Scrum team. The product goal describes a future state of the product, which can serve as a target for the Scrum team to plan against. It provides context and focus, helping the team to align its work over multiple sprints toward a single valuable objective. What is the commitment for the sprint backlog? A. The sprint goal. B. The product goal. C. The definition of done. D. The velocity. A. The sprint goal. The sprint goal is the single objective for the sprint. It is a commitment by the developers, providing flexibility regarding the exact work needed to achieve it and encouraging collaboration and focus. Advanced Scrum. Challenge your understanding with more complex scenarios. This final section covers topics like scaling, metrics, and common misunderstandings. You will learn how to apply Scrum principles in difficult situations. What is velocity a measure of? A. The performance or productivity of the team. B. The amount of value delivered to the customer. C. The speed at which individual developers write code. D. The amount of work a team has completed in past sprints, used for forecasting. D. The amount of work a team has completed in past sprints, used for forecasting. Velocity is a historical measure of the amount of product backlog turned into a done increment during a sprint. It is a tool for the developers to help with forecasting and should not be used as a performance metric to compare teams. If multiple Scrum teams are working on a single product, what must they all share? A. The same Scrum Master. B. The same sprint length. C. The same product owner and product backlog. D. The same development tools and programming language. C. The same product owner and product backlog. To ensure a coherent and integrated product, all teams must work from a single source of truth, the product backlog, and have a single person accountable for maximizing its value, the product owner. This aligns all teams toward the same product goal. What is a common anti-pattern for a Scrum Master? A. Coaching the team to solve its own problems. B. Facilitating the sprint retrospective effectively. C. Acting as a secretary or team assistant by booking meetings and taking notes. D. Removing an impediment that the team could not resolve on its own. C. Acting as a secretary or team assistant by booking meetings and taking notes. This is an anti-pattern because it hinders the team's journey towards self-management. A Scrum Master should be a leader and coach, not an administrative assistant who performs tasks the team can and should do for itself. What is the primary purpose of a Nexus framework? A. To provide a framework for scaling Scrum to multiple teams working on one product. B. To manage projects that do not involve software. C. To replace Scrum with a more detailed process. D. To introduce a hierarchy of project managers into the Agile process. A. To provide a framework for scaling Scrum to multiple teams working on one product. Nexus is an extension of Scrum designed to guide multiple teams as they collaborate to deliver an integrated, valuable product. It adds roles, events, and artifacts to manage and reduce the complexity of cross-team dependencies. In evidence-based management, EBM, what does unrealized value represent? A. The value the product currently delivers to customers. B. The organization's effectiveness in delivering new value. C. The cost of developing the product so far. D. The potential future value that could be realized. D. The potential future value that could be realized. Unrealized value is a key area in EBM that focuses on the gap between the current customer experience and the experience they could have if all their needs were met. It helps organizations identify new opportunities and focus on outcomes over output. What is a key principle of scaling Agile with multiple teams? A. Ensuring all teams are integrated and deliver a single, unified increment. B. Allowing each team to define its own product quality standards independently. C. Appointing a chief project manager to oversee all teams and assign tasks. D. Having teams report their progress daily to senior management. A. Ensuring all teams are integrated and deliver a single, unified increment. When scaling, the primary goal is to ensure that the work of all teams comes together to form one cohesive and potentially releasable increment. This requires a shared definition of done and frequent integration to manage dependencies effectively. What is meant by technical debt? A. The money owed for software licenses and tools. B. The implied cost of rework caused by choosing an easy solution now instead of using a better approach. C. The time developers spend in meetings instead of coding. D. The budget allocated for hardware upgrades and maintenance. B. The implied cost of rework caused by choosing an easy solution now instead of using a better approach. Technical debt represents the future cost of fixing suboptimal technical decisions made in the past. While sometimes necessary, it must be managed by the developers to prevent it from slowing down future development and impacting quality.